Hello, everyone. You once again up front with Frank Rothstein on the City World Radio Network, broadcasting live 120 feet in the air. Also broadcasting live on Skies Crescent Radio. Just go to skiescrescentradio.com, which airs on Spreaker, on iHeart, on any other .com you're going to find, because that's where we are. We are live. And sitting with me, as always, a woman who's counting a lot of money. It's Jade Zabrick, the rich Jade Zabrick. Well, we're sitting here. Someone just distracted me. So anyway, we're sitting here as always. We have a guest this week, and we have the author of her new book, Better Than Sisters, Kathy Gigante Brown. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Frank. It's great to be here.
I'm glad you're back.
Thanks for having me back.
Your third appearance?
I think it's the fourth.
Fourth?
Because you have me back for every book, which I really appreciate.
You're on your fourth book.
I'm on the fourth book, yes.
This is great. This is doing better than I do. I mean, I have to do books with pictures, and that's what the problem is. I just can't do anything here because no one can see the pop-ups.
Nobody can see how good we look.
That's right. That's right. No one can see how good we look. That's why I have radio posters I'm working on. So tell us, when did this book come out?
The book just came out about a month ago on March 6th. It's from Velocil Publishing. It is my fourth book with Velocil, which I really love working with. They give me a lot of creative freedom. They gave me like 20 choices on the cover. It was really wonderful to work with them. And this is different for me because this is kind of what I call a crossover book. It is a book that would appeal to young adults and women. And men too, but so women can enjoy it with their daughters, grandmothers can enjoy it with their granddaughters. It's kind of a timeless story of two young girls in the 1970s who become friends. And it's about how friendship develops. And they say they're better than sisters because they chose each other. So that's the story.
Chick book.
Yes, chick book.
Chick book. Chick book, and I'm in the room with two women. I am in trouble tonight. I can see it now.
I think Jade would like it.
I'm sure I will. I can see now. I'm not leaving this room alive.
We'll be gentle. Come on.
How is the review? Has there been a review? How are the results? The feedback?
It's been reviewed. There was a review on a service called Just Reviews, and they gave it a really nice review. A lot of the characters are based on real people, people who I met or grew up with, professors and teachers that I had. So they are very thrilled with the book. And it's been getting a lot of really good feedback.
That's excellent. Sales are good, I hope?
Yes, sales in the first month for a very small publisher, we've sold over 50 copies, which is pretty good for a very small, unknown publisher.
That's great.
Yeah.
That works.
Very happy with that.
That works. Just so everyone knows, you can call in and talk to Kathy anytime you want and ask her any question you want, because the phones are open, 646-690-2976, 646-690-2976. We are also broadcasting live on LiveMe. Wave to my phone, Kathy. We're live. The world can see you. They can see how
world.
good the world can see how good looking we are.
Yes.
And we are sitting here talking about the books. You are your fourth. You
Yes.
like to write about Brooklyn.
I do. Well, I'm a Brooklyn girl. You're a Brooklyn guy, so you can relate. And I write what I know, and it's this one takes place in the 70s. It's loosely based on my childhood, and I grew up in Bay Ridge. I know you grew up in
Coney Island,
Coney
Brighton
Island.
Beach area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of Manhattan Beach in this one. And it's a really beautiful story of friendship and how women kind of help each other become, I guess, humans, become caring human beings. Because when you have a friend like this, you kind of choose them. You know, it's not like it's somebody in your family, like your little sister, hi Liz, who you have to be nice to and you have to be kind to. This is somebody who you choose, and they teach you how to be a really good person. So that's what this is about.
Cool. Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
How many pages you have?
It
time?
is, well, it's a little shorter because young adult tend to be a bit shorter. It's about 250 pages.
It's a fair size.
But we really worked harder on it than the longer ones, like the L, and those books are around 400 pages. And for some reason, we needed to get it right, and it really took a longer time to get this one together. But it's worth it. I think the finished product is great.
How long did it take you?
We worked on it, I guess, from November to March. So Vinny and I, the publisher at Velocil, worked on it. He sent me about 11 drafts, and traditional publishers only send you like maybe 2 drafts of it for you to do corrections on. But he really cares about quality. And as I said, like 20 covers. And so I had all these cover designs to choose from, and I think I chose the best one.
Well, with all the, yes, you're hearing noises outside because the world is my prop and I have no problem with it. They're having a party out there. They just
Yay!
had the show Chirp About It just wrapped a little before me, and they're on their way out, but they're still chirping. That's
are.
cool. That's cool. How you doing, Jade?
Jade's good.
I got Jade's thumb. It's been a while. I got the thumb. How many, when you're doing, from the time you first submit to the first correction, to the last correction, 11 corrections, 11 drafts.
11 drafts.
Where you can get
Now,
to play with it and do what you're also an editor. You
Right.
can do what you want with it.
I think for me, it was about 5 drafts before I handed it into the publisher, and then we went through about 11 drafts.
Does your patience ever give on you from doing this?
I'll tell you, I wasn't getting tired of the story. I still really liked it. There were still parts that got me excited, that got me all choked up and verklempt.
So there's
So I-
never a part where you say to yourself, it's good enough.
No.
Okay.
No, because Vinny says, the publisher says this is art. This is real art, and this is going to stay around for a long time. And people really seem touched. People have told me, everyone has a friend like this. Everyone has this friend who you were like glue with and you were stuck to in high school or grammar school, and then all of a sudden you drift apart for no reason, but it just happens. You grow apart.
Yeah, it does happen. Who are the characters? Who are the friends we're following this time?
Well, there's one woman named Cece. It kind of follows her until she's an adult, so she's a teenager at this point. Cece, whose real name is Celeste, and then Desiree, who they call Desi. And it's an interesting friendship because Cece is Italian American and Desi comes from a Puerto Rican family. So their cultures are so different, and they just find each other's culture fascinating and the food fascinating. Like Desi loves, meatballs and spaghetti, whereas Cece is like mofongo was like, manna from heaven. And each family is very different and very exotic to the other. And they're also very different. Desi is going through grief in the way that she lost her father abruptly. So the family is also trying to deal with that as well.
You got a lot going on. Okay.
There is a lot happening, and I also have a playlist on Spotify, the Better Than Sisters playlist. I took all the songs that I mentioned in the book because the girls make up these playlists of like, oh, John Williams doesn't love me, so I'll play the song Close to You, or they love Three Dog Night, or they mention the song Shambhala. So I actually made
That's
a
right.
playlist.
They're in the 70s. They would know all those bands.
All
That's
these
right.
great
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have to go find that one. Again, the phones are open, 646-690-2976. Give a call. Ask Kathy a question. We're all sitting here waiting just
My
to hear from you.
sister-in-law, Susan, come on, call in. I know
Susan.
you got a preview of it, Susan.
Susan, you are not one of those people who said, I'm here for you, I'm there for you, I love you, I'm with you, and you're not going to call in.
And Juanita from New Zealand, she's listening. It's probably morning, sometime in the morning there.
Good. Juanita, the
Come
second
on,
the
Wanzi.
coffee kicks in, dial up. The second the caffeine kicks. It's 9:12. We're still talking here about this book. I like this a lot. We're talking about friends. I haven't a lot of old friends. Wow, it wasn't so much in high school. It was after high school. I had the friends who I never thought I'd part company with, but it happens. One reason or another, it happens.
It does. And
It
I've
does.
had people say to me, I've got to call my better than sister. I got to get in touch with her. And my husband says, get them the book. Send them the book.
I never say I got to call my better than brother. That's a girl thing.
I think it is. Well, they kind of made it up because they both had bratty little sisters and they both kind of connected with each other. And it goes through all these things like puberty and let's just call it self-discovery, Catholic school, because I'm a survivor of Catholic school. Some really great things and some really not so great things.
Yeah, well, I went to Hebrew school. I had the same yardstick hit my leg.
Really? I didn't know they did that in Hebrew school.
Oh, yes.
Learn your Haftorah.
Yeah, I memorized it because I never learned how to read Hebrew. I started at a very late age, and there wasn't time for me to learn the language to read it properly. So my rabbi taught me to memorize it.
Right.
I was looking at it in Hebrew, so I had my markers set up, but I really had it all memorized. Every last prayer, every part of the Haftorah, I memorized every last bit of it.
That's tough, and that's really long.
13-year-olds can do that. I don't know that I could do that today.
No, I don't think so.
But anyway, so we're on Kathy's Facebook page. For all you shy people who promise to call in but just can't seem to dial that phone, leave us a question on the page, and we'll just be happy to talk to you. We will answer you live on the air. What is this? What? Juanita says she is trying to figure it out now. Juanita, you can simply type into Facebook if it's a bit of a thing. Feel free.
Juanita confesses that she's not tech savvy, but we
Neither
love
am
her
I.
anyway.
Neither am I. I am big into backup stuff, so I could do things when people can't.
Yes.
So when the most tech-savvy people are crippled, there's me. I'm a happy guy.
And this is why you have Jade to record everything and make everything wonderful.
Jay just pushes buttons. She can make me sound any language as she wants, and sometimes holds me up to blackmail so I don't sound stupid.
Oh.
There's that stupid button right over there, and I just she hits it, and I'm gonna
I do have a reading coming up that I'd like to mention.
Where?
It's the Brooklyn launch of Better Than Sisters. It's at this great independent bookstore in Bay Ridge called the Bookmark Shop. And that is on 84th Street and 3rd Avenue. So the reading, it's a reading and a signing. It's on Sunday, April 28th at 4 o'clock at the Bookmark Shop. And it's coincidentally in Bay Ridge where I grew up and where the book is set. And there are all these great places, like I grew up going to Pizza Wagon, and they're friends on Facebook, and they are just so thrilled that Pizza Wagon is mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
And professors of mine in college, my professor David Wynn, who inspired a character, he was my teacher at Hunter College. He had some really nice things to say about the book. So it's the feedback is great. I think it touches a chord with people. It really does.
All friends? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So let's catch up on your past books before we continue with this book. You had the L, you had the Bells of Brooklyn. And you had different drummer I'm not as familiar with. How are the Bells doing in Brooklyn?
The Bells are doing fine.
Where are they up to these days? What are they doing with themselves?
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
That book has a bell in every chapter. That's one of the reasons why I called it that. And bells kind of call us to everything. They call us to dinner. They call us church bells. Back then, there were bells on the knife man's cart, and children had bells on their shoes. So there's a bell mentioned in the Bells of Brooklyn in every chapter. Different Drummer takes place also in the 70s, and it's about a musician, a female drummer, singing drummer, trying to make it in the 70s.
And you know why she could write these 4 books? Because we're all from Brooklyn.
Yes.
What does Queens have? The Mets? I love the Mets, but they don't win. You can't write about the Mets. You can't write about a lot of things in Queens.
Come on, your mom loves the Mets.
She does. Then she yells at me when they're not winning. It's my fault. I'm sitting in Manhattan on my couch, and she's sitting there blaming me because the Mets lost. The Bronx? What do they got? The Yankees? Yeah.
I do have some scenes that do take place in Better Than Sisters that do take place in Corona, in Queens.
I am not reading this book.
And you do have the back and forth of the Brooklyn-Queens rivalry where the pizza guy in Queens says that Queens pizza is better than Brooklyn pizza.
Don't make me thicken my accent.
Don't make me
do it. I know you have a book planning somewhere. I know you think there's another project coming. We know that already.
There is.
If you're
I'm
not
working
thinking
on the
about it
next
yet,
one.
Oh, we're going to get away from Brooklyn. Are you going to sit there and branch out a little bit?
Because that's what I know. I mean, I don't know
Different
if I could write
neighborhood,
about
maybe.
Texas or something like that. Well, this is the...
Jade's from Texas. She wants you to write about.
Wow.
Consultant.
I just came back from Austin and San Antonio.
Consultant.
Ah.
She'll take you around Texas. She'll show you all the hot spots, the low spots. You could write about it. And,
That's a possibility.
she'll wear a hat.
It'll be great.
You could get you a hat.
I
And you
don't
can
look
write
good
about
in
Texas.
that.
Well, it's a thought. It's a thought.
Well, the next book is the third book in the L trilogy. First was the L, which takes place in 1930s Brooklyn. It's an Italian-American family. Then The Bells of Brooklyn takes place 10 years later in the 1940s. And then this next book is probably going to be called Brooklyn Roses, and that takes place the same family in the 50s and 60s. And that should be it. My publisher says trilogies do really well. Please write a trilogy. And my fans say, like, we can't leave the Paradisos. We love them. You have to tell us what happens.
Well, then you have to catch them up. That's right.
That's what I'm doing.
Then there'll be a movie somewhere. There has to be a movie somewhere.
Hopefully. Well, Different Drummer, I'm working on a musical with Susan Einhorn, who's a fantastic director, and Hannah Hickok, who is a wonderful composer, as well as Vinnie Corbo is writing some of the rock numbers. So we are looking for funding to get the musical out there to do what they call a staged reading so that we can get producers interested. So we had a campaign on Indiegogo, which we still need to raise a little more money, but I thank everybody for helping out with that. So contribute to Different Drummer and help us make this a thing.
You heard it here. We want it to become a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a title to your Indiegogo page? How would people find it? Indiegogo.com?
Well, the campaign ended, but
Okay.
if anyone's interested, they can contact me, and
How?
they could look on Different Drummers' Facebook page and post something on that, and we
You have
will
an email?
respond to
Is
them.
there an email for professional work?
It's my private email. I could give it. It's Kathy with a C, Kathy Brown 1059 at gmail.com. So they can get me that way or through Different Drummers page on Facebook.
There you go.
Yeah.
People, you're going to spend your money on something else anyway, so might as well spend it on this. Send in something. Contact Kathy. Help her push this forward. There's a lot to be said for Brooklyn. And with her bells and her L and all this from the 30s to the 40s, there's plenty of more volumes to come. Because we're in the 2000s. We're coming up in 2020. That's a lot of space to fill.
It's true, but for some reason I don't like writing about contemporary topics because it's before you know it, it's out of date.
Well, it's not contemporary. It will become a series about people who are getting older and they're
Right.
aging and the things that go along with it.
It's true.
The book would the subjects would simply progress into whatever natural order you create for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 646-690-2976. I'm happy it's working. We had a little tech problem here for a couple of weeks, but it's on now. I see little green lights waiting for it to ring. This is pretty cool. So now we're at 9:20. Let's do a little shameless plugging for a minute. I know that you do make the circuit of readings.
Yes.
How many you got coming up? You mentioned what? How many you really have coming up?
I have another one coming up. It's a group reading, and if there are any poets in Brooklyn, April is Poetry Month. There's something called Ken Siegelman's Brooklyn Poetry Outreach, and it's in the Park Slope Library, which is the corner of 9th Street and 6th Avenue. It's the third Tuesday of the month from 5:45 to 7:45. We have a feature every time. I was feature last month in March, but now we have this really great poet and teacher at Edward R. Murrow named Joe Elliott, and he's having some of his students come down. So I'm going to be reading on the open mic portion, and there's going to be pizza. So it's coming up this April 16th, this Tuesday, at the Park Slope Library.
Brooklyn Pizza?
Brooklyn Pizza, yes.
Okay, then.
We're not going to do Queen's Pizza. And I
That's
always
right.
bake cookies. So they're a home-baked cookie. So come
Brooklyn-
down if you just
Brooklyn
want to
cookies?
listen. Yes, Brooklyn.
Okay, then. Jade, we're shamelessly plugging since poets are being talked about. What do you got coming up? Because it was a tall person sitting there.
It was Ian. I'm actually going to be at a place called, well, the event's called The Poet will be televised tomorrow at Sylvana in Harlem. I'm there every second Wednesday of the month. I play guitar in the house band. And tonight I'm going to Supreme Bars, which is a rap competition.
Cool.
Brooklyn rap?
What?
Brooklyn
Manhattan? I don't know. It's just rap, but...
We're in a Brooklyn mode tonight. Do you mind?
I'm going to be in Brooklyn on Thursday at The Well.
There you go.
Oh.
So we got some stuff going on in Brooklyn. This is good. It's 9:22. Live me, people. Are we getting any comments out there? Is anyone even... I can't see anything. I'm blind.
You've got a great personality.
That's a robot.
Well,
That's the robot.
That's what I got. It's a
It's
robot.
not your mom?
No.
She's watching the Mets. Are they
She's
on?
watching the... No, she's listening out here.
Hi, Mom.
Somebody said they agreed, but I don't know what they were talking about.
That's a robot.
All right, well, robots.
There you go. Oh, look at that. I see what you punched up. Why not? Let's get a little personal here for a second. We got some very good news in my family today. My mom is in good health. Everything is checking out fine. Things are progressing perfectly as we would see. Everything is great. And I think that even at this stage of the game, Mom is going to be around till the Mets win the World Series. That may give her a heart attack and shock, but she's going to be around till the Mets win the World Series. So I'm going to give my mom a song, because why not? And this is it. This is from Toots and the Maytals. This is Never Grow Old.
Ready? Until I found a way.
That was Toots and the Maytals. That was from my mom, who's kicking ass yet again. Kathy, what are we doing?
Yes.
What's going on here? You want to read to us?
I would love to read.
We're going to be reading about Cece and Desi.
Yes, this is from Better Than Sisters. That's what we're talking about, my novel that takes place in 1970s Brooklyn, Bay Ridge to be exact. It would be a great gift for someone to give to their mom for Mother's Day, which is just around the corner. So this is from the intro, and it kind of sets the stage of what's to come. So here it goes. I wanted to write this all down, all of it, so I didn't forget it, any of it. I'm not sure why. It just seems important. But to who? To the people who were there mostly, although they probably don't need reminding. Desi, Rafi, Maddie, Athena, Umbe, Stefan, and all of the rest. Oh, and me too, especially me. They say everybody remembers the same thing differently. I guess because we see our lives from the inside out, while others are looking at stuff from their inside out. Our own insides make us see details and incidents in a personal way through our own tailor-made pair of rose-colored glasses. Then there's something else, selective memory, I think it's called. It's kind of amnesia where the victim remembers only certain parts of their memories, nothing more. It's a protection mechanism, protecting yourself from yourself, or from the facts. But who's the victim here? No one, as far as I can tell. But maybe we're all just victims of ourselves. So that's the intro, and I hope it intrigues you. It's just like, what happened? Why are these people not in touch with each other anymore? What went on?
Chick book.
Chick book, yes, definitely.
Chick book. I think it's great. You have 4 books. That's a forever thing. I think it's fantastic. I really do.
Thank you.
I wouldn't know how to put 3 words on paper.
I think you would, but I think everybody has at least one book in
my
them.
area of expertise is in concept. I'm in concept. I am in quality control and concept. I'll think of the idea, then it better be working properly before I release it. That's what I do.
You're an ideator, an idea man.
I'm an idea man. Yes, people have heard me say that before. I'm an idea man. And when I'm not an idea man, when I'm not being an idea man, I actually have a few good ideas. So,
Good.
That's how I think of it. How long do you space between books? When you know what you want to do, I got to do this, that, and the other thing. How long do you normally take between?
It's generally about every 2 years, every 2.5 years. It really takes a lot of time to write a book. People don't realize it's mostly in the rewriting. It's not so much the writing. So you're writing, and then you get it all down, and the first draft is pretty ugly and messy, and then you're just kind of crafting it. You're carving it out, making it look and sound the way you want it to.
Does anyone ever just write a book? This is the way it is, and that's that.
I think some people do. Some people try, but
sloppy as it may be.
Yeah, it's some people it just comes out the right way, but most of writing is in the editing.
So how many pages when you go to editing, how many pages do you normally, our average, cut out roughly?
It's not so much cutting out, it's usually embellishing. It's making it sound right, substituting little words here and there, and finding the right adjectives and not repeating words too much. So it's mostly making it longer, not making it shorter, for me.
Yeah. Jade, when you write a song, do you ever go back and add a line or take a line out or swap a word?
Definitely. But I feel like the best songs will happen like in an hour. It's different though with music, I think. But I have songs that'll take me. I'm not even on. Hello.
She's talking to herself.
Yeah, I was talking to myself.
Let's try that again.
Yeah. So no, I write songs. Sometimes it'll take me a couple of days. Sometimes it'll take me like an hour. But the best songs were in an hour. I don't know if it's different.
I've written some lyrics for the Different Drummer musical and played around with that. And it's not as easy as people might think. I mean, even though songs are short, much shorter than a short story or an essay. It's, and when you're doing it for a musical, you really have to convey emotions, and you have to convey things that the characters can't say in real life to each other, but they could sing it. I could sing it,
So some of those songs, every now and then I'll hear some Broadway songs, like the mid-show songs that have no rhyme or reason as to why they're there. They're just there, And I don't even know how these things get written. Not the songs we all know, but some of those little mid-show productions that add into
fillers,
the show.
kind of.
Fillers, yeah. I listen to some of them, and every time I see Liza Minnelli singing a song lately, whenever last time I saw her, she's singing some mid-show song that I don't think anyone ever heard of or will ever hear of again. So, but the fillers come in handy.
It's
Usually,
true.
Old albums, they had you look for one or two songs, and the rest were just there.
Right. They weren't
Some
great.
of them were good,
Yeah.
but people overlooked them because they heard one on the radio.
Yeah, you have certain albums like Dark Side of the Moon where everything on it was
I've often
fantastic.
said the Beatles, probably the only band I know of. You take their sea-level songs, you have a Grammy Award-winning album, and just put them together. But that's how I see it. Me, I wish I could sing this. I really can't sing, and I certainly can't. I'm not a writer of music. Although Jade, who does sing and does write music, will not learn a song that I ask. I want the Mavericks. I know you know. I know. When I'm old and gray, as I'm on my way out, maybe you'll sing one for me. That'll be it. He has 3 minutes to go. Get a quick one in. Maybe. I'm giving her guilt. I'm a Jew. I could do that. So, back to Brooklyn.
There's a lot of guilt in Better Than Sisters.
Yes.
Catholic guilt.
Oh, yes. We'll get you. We'll
It's
fix
different
you.
than Jewish guilt.
We'll fix you. So back to Brooklyn. You grew up in what? You said Bay Ridge.
Bay Ridge,
Bay
yes.
Ridge. What part?
Fort Hamilton part. I grew up literally right next to the PS 104 schoolyard. And a lot of the buildings that I talk about in the book are in my neighborhood. This place called Harold Hall, where this really weird guy named the Magic Man supposedly lived and flashed kids intermittently. We get to meet him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We had
Everyone needs a flasher.
Every neighborhood had a flasher. But I've always told people, I do a lot of business in Soho, in Manhattan. You talk to these old guys, and I can't help but get that gravelly voice in my throat because they're all telling you about the neighborhood. It was the neighborhood then, it's the neighborhood now. You're not, from here, you don't understand. You know, what do you know? And I love to torture the old guys because I always tell them all old neighborhoods are the same. It's not true. It's not. It's the neighborhood. I said, no. I said, what do you mean? I said, let me see if I got it right. There are old buildings. Now the old buildings, there are old ladies hanging out the window looking at the whole neighborhood all day long. Somewhere there was this bakery near a candy shop. And then there was like a social club a couple of blocks that way. And you had a couple of nut jobs that everyone, basically harmless people, but they were nutty, so they were there. How'd you know? Because I had the same ones in my neighborhood in Brighton Beach. It's not the same. So okay. It's another neighborhood, but yeah, every neighborhood to me, old neighborhoods are the same. And we had plenty of nut jobs in Brighton Beach.
We had plenty in Bay Ridge.
Bay Ridge, yeah. Tell me about you. Tell us about your nut jobs.
Well, when I was growing up, I just remember it was the 70s, and I remember a lot of glue sniffing going on in the schoolyard. So there was a lot of that kind of thing going on. We just had some just strange, interesting characters. Pizzerias, everybody had their favorite pizzeria.
Yeah.
It was
Which
just...
was yours?
Well, Pizza Wagon. I hope you're listening, Pizza Wagon. That was further away, but right around the corner from us was Vito's, so we went there a lot.
I went to Rocco's a lot. Wasn't the best of pizzerias, but it was Rocco's, and that's where I grew up, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. So,
and there's even a scene in the book that takes place on Manhattan Beach.
But I'm from
romantic
Coney Island.
Scene. Well, Coney Island, we in the
that's
70s
why
we weren't allowed to go there.
That's why we have Under the Boardwalk.
Coney Island was dangerous in the
boardwalk.
70s.
It's going to still be dangerous now, but we still had the boardwalk, and that's it. That's our song.
It's true.
And yeah, so Brooklyn. I always got a kick out of it, and of course, well, now you don't see a kid playing anywhere, But did you play any games? What was your game as a kid?
Stoop ball. I
Stoop
was the
ball was
stoop
yours.
ball queen, and there's some stoop ball in the book. We played stick ball, a little basketball. I wasn't great at basketball, but mostly stoop ball.
I was a punch ball kid,
Oh.
and then I played a lot of paddle ball. But as far as that little one ball game that can entertain 20 kids at a time, for me it was punch ball and slap ball and stoop ball.
Right,
Not stoop ball, excuse me, off the wall.
right.
My father likes stoop ball. I couldn't do. I wasn't good at it.
Well, don't you have those courts in Brighton Beach that somebody did a movie about? Was it handball?
Yeah, on the
Right.
corner of Fifth on Ocean. Well, where Ocean Parkway becomes Surf Avenue, there's it's the world famous. It's,
Right.
Every handball player knows that place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even dream of playing against
No,
those guys.
they are rough. They're
They-
hardcore.
But I always remember as a little kid, I'm talking to my dad one day, we were looking out the terrace, and I said, Dad, and this is now going back to like, if I'm that young, we're talking about like 1968, 69, I could talk, whatever. And that time, not all moms went to work. A lot of them were housewives, sat home.
Yeah, mine didn't.
And I see all these old guys sitting in the freezing weather playing handball. I said, Daddy, why are the old men always playing handball in the really cold weather? He goes, Frank, they're hiding from their wives. They want to spend their Social Security money. And every time I turned around, there was an ambulance taking some old guy off who had his heart attack. He wanted, whoever it was, that's where they wanted to be, on the handball courts in Brighton Beach, yeah.
Not a bad place to die.
No, not bad at all. Doing what you love, not at all.
Yeah.
Coney Island was pretty rough in the 70s, 80s, and all that. And if you think about watching the Warriors, that doesn't quite do it justice.
No.
It's just a cool movie to watch.
They were kind of frou-frou,
yeah.
the Warriors.
Yeah.
They
So,
were.
that was just a really cool movie.
Yeah, it was. I saw it recently. It was.
It's
really-
on all the time. I watch it all the time. They have a good song at the end, and yeah, I watch it all the time.
They actually didn't they have it at Coney Island, like on a big screen outdoors somewhere
had their-
last summer? I think.
They had the final ride where the actors take another ride down the train down to Stillwell Avenue. They made a whole big thing on it. Like I forgot if it was a 40th anniversary or what.
I think it's the
Yeah.
40th. Yeah.
A couple of years ago. So yeah, the Warriors came out to play one more time. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, but stickball. We didn't have sewers for stickball because
Okay.
I grew up on West 5th Street, where it was just like an avenue block.
Right. It's a big block.
So we went to PS 100, not PS 104, PS 100, and they had like a 3-quarter enclosure, 3-wall enclosure. So for us, you had to hit the ball high, and that's what we did. It was a little bit different way of doing things, but I could hit. In baseball and softball, I couldn't field to save my life, but I had an optical problem, a eye problem as a kid, depth perception, all type of thing. But I could hit, and yeah, I think one guy hit a ball off of. I think they're still watching where it went. It was my best shot ever. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I could hit.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Lincoln.
Oh,
Abraham
right
Lincoln.
there. Yeah.
Lincoln. You hear that, people? Lincoln, not Sheepshead, not Erasmus, not boys, not girls, not any of the Lafayette, not any of the others, not great.
Not Our
Lincoln.
Lady of Grady.
Well, actually, I went to Grady for
They
like
used to call it
a few
that.
months. But Lincoln. That's all I got to say.
Ah.
Which high school was yours again?
Fort Hamilton, but I changed the name of the high school that the girls go to in Better Than Sisters. But anyone who knows Bay Ridge could figure out what what Fort Adams is, and then the name of the school, the Catholic school, was St. Fiacre. And if you know Bay Ridge, you can figure out by the address I give what the actual school is. There were a lot of Catholic schools in Bay Ridge. St. Anselm, St. Patrick, OLA.
Well, if you're from Brooklyn, no one cares what college you went to. It's what high school you went to.
Exactly.
In New York, yes. Yeah, college is nice, but what high school did you go to? Jade, what high school did you go to?
Performing and Visual Arts High School of Houston. I'm
What?
not lying. Like,
What?
that's what it was called. HSPVA.
You know, we would have beaten you in sports also.
We did not have sports. We were the only.
Oh,
We were the only high school in Texas that was not required to have a gym.
Oh, Lord.
Really?
This explains a lot.
What? I'm pretty athletic. I went to the military. It explains nothing.
Yeah, it does. You don't have a sports team. Yes, it does. Lincoln, we are the rail splitters. That's all I got to say. What was your team called?
We did
You have
not
any?
have a football team because
Yeah,
the baseball team, the Tigers, but we didn't have a football team because the principal's son had a very bad football accident. So while he was in charge, we did not have a team. But the Tigers, go Tigers! And we had a fantastic basketball team. In my class, Albert King was, you remember Albert King? Great basketball player, went pro. Really, really nice guy. And also in my class was Jean Belucas, who was the pocket billiards champ, and she beat guys like Willie Mosconi. A fantastic person. Jean is a great, great person.
This is what happens when you're from Brooklyn. You get talent.
Yes,
We created comedy in Brooklyn.
we do.
Everything in comedy was all basically created in Brooklyn.
Because Brooklyn is pretty funny.
That's right. We have pizza.
Either you laugh or you cry.
That's why I went to Totono Pizzeria when I had money as a kid. And I was like on payday because they had the best pizza.
I've never been there.
What?
I haven't. I'm not going to wait on a line for some old guy to make like, I don't know, 10
There's a
pizzas
younger
day.
guy now, you know.
Yeah, but the wait is like
That guy
incredible.
you're talking about died like 30 years ago.
But don't you have to wait forever for the pizza?
It's well worth it.
I don't wait for food. I'm not good at waiting. I could make it myself.
Oh, no. You go to Spumoni Gardens?
LMB, yes.
LMB, that's the name. It's Spumoni Gardens. You go there? I haven't been there in who knows how
I haven't
long.
been there in a while, but it's good pizza.
It's good. It was never my favorite, but it's good pizza. It was just not enough cheese for my taste, my personal taste. So I preferred Totono, and of course, just because on principle alone, Rocco's.
Yes.
That was my thing. And then I do miss a lot of the things that were in Brighton Beach, all the good stores that used to be there. I miss Mrs. Stahl's.
I was going to say that Mrs. Stahl's was great. Those round knishes were fantastic.
Yeah, well, I used to watch that place because they had the guy behind the counter. And behind this guy who took care of you was, I guess, the manager, the boss, whoever it was. The cash register opened up. There wasn't $1, and maybe it was like 3 singles in case you had a 5. And the old guy would stand behind the cash register guy, and every bill that came in, he would take it and make change from his pocket. And I'm thinking, well, why are you even paying this guy when you can do it yourself
Right.
and not just stand there and make everyone crazy, which is what he was doing, the old guy. But the knishes themselves were delicious. And, yeah, Brighton Beach was pretty good.
It was.
And we had the Brighton Baths when I was a kid, which is long since gone.
Yes.
And right now, my aunt lives in Bay Ridge, the tail end, like by the Belt Parkway. And there's some great spots out there. There's some beautiful homes out there.
There are. They film a lot of TV shows there. They're filming the prequel to The Sopranos out there.
I heard that,
Blue
yeah.
Bloods is shot out there. There's a beautiful old house called the Gingerbread House that's right near the high school I went to, right near Fort Hamilton. So Bay Ridge is cool.
Well, you also grew up near Christmas time in Dyker Heights.
Yes. Not far from Dyker
They
Heights.
could've lit up
The
your
Dyker
block from their
Heights
block.
girls were stuck up, though. They used a lot of hairspray, and they were courgettes. The Bay Ridge girls were more down to earth.
The courgettes, yeah, the Italian
Like
girls.
the cousines,
Their
the courgettes.
boyfriends, when they were going driving, when the girls were busy, would go cruising on 86th Street in Brooklyn. One of them always had their foot out the window.
Yeah.
So you're leaning back in your car seat. You're driving with one hand holding the wheel, and your left foot's hanging out the window. The cousines,
driver?
yeah, yeah. And that was the general look. And all you did was cruise, which meant you went down one strip, made a U-turn, came back, did it again.
A girl would do this?
No, a guy would do that.
Oh.
The girls were probably doing whatever together.
Were the girls wearing dresses?
The girls were going to some.
Okay.
The girls were going to some tacky club to
Going to L'Amour's.
go to L'Amour's. They're going to some tacky club to have cheap drinks, and Pastels also was there.
Pastels, yeah.
Yeah. And that time we had one big roller rink in Sheepshead Bay, which I didn't really bother with, and yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah. I would like to read, if we have time,
You
I'd
have
like to read a little excerpt
Of
of the book that we're talking about, Better Than Sisters. It's available. I didn't tell you how you can get it. You can get it as an ebook on Amazon or on Apple, or you could also order it on Amazon, or ask your friendly neighborhood bookstore to order it for you. It's $19.95, and the Kindle version is $9.95. So I would like to read. This comes toward the end of the book and kind of sums everything up. So here it goes. Maybe me and Desi were like that wooden box, something that was put away until it was needed. Except our box wasn't empty inside. It was overflowing. If Desi came to me after 5 years, 10 years, I would be there for her. We would pick up just where we left off, and it wouldn't be uncomfortable or awkward. It would be just like we paused in the middle of a sentence. And we could continue that sentence dozens of months later, like nothing had ever happened. Don't you have a friend like that? A forever friend no matter what? I believe that everyone has at least one. A once-in-a-lifetime friend. Well, Desi was mine. And there you have it.
There you go. Desi was hers. Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah?
A Kindle book.
Yes.
Something about books on Kindle on a tablet that just don't work for me.
I see. I like it. You can even get the Kindle app on your phone. You don't need a Kindle.
I know.
And you can read it on the train.
Here goes the end of the phrase page turner.
No, well, you kind of swipe.
A button pusher.
But the beauty of that is you can have a whole bunch of books on your Kindle or on your phone. So you can have all 4 of my books.
Buy the book, people, because pictures pop up. Buy the book.
Yes.
Yes, always buy the product. It's much better for business that way. To me, it's a whole different thing. I've read stuff on tablets. To me, it's a whole different thing.
People like the tactile sensation of a book, of actually turning the pages, the smell, the feel. I get that.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
I think so anyway. Then again, every time I see an 8-year-old, they have a tablet or a phone or something.
They do, and 2-year-olds know the swipe. It's
I know.
funny.
It's something wrong with that also. There really is something wrong with that. Huh? Do you read books on tablets or on...
I had a Kindle at one point. I went back to books after that.
Mhm.
Yeah. How are the pictures going to pop up in your head?
Oh.
Well, yeah. So anyway, since we were talking about Brooklyn, I don't know why, but I punched up. I know you know what this is.
A Charlotte Russe.
You ever have a Charlotte Russe, Jade? This is perfection. Confection perfection. It's a cylindric holder with a little push-up thing in the bottom.
Cardboard.
With cardboard. I'm being technical here. With a piece of cheap cake. Basic yellow basic cake.
Yeah.
Nice, neat whipped cream and a maraschino cherry on top. This can keep many kids very happy. What did they cost when we were kids? What did they cost?
I don't know. They were less than $1, I think. They were pretty cheap.
Oh, they were like were they 50 cents?
Probably, because there really wasn't much to them. Just like a little bit of whipped
There's nothing
cream.
to it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, my aunt would always buy. It was just all she fed us was everything was always a Charlotte Russe. And what is now will be considered racist and every other ist there is, but the Chinese cookie.
Yes.
I miss
The
Chinese
almond
cookies.
cookie.
I miss old Jewish bakeries and Chinese cookies. A plain old cookie about the size of a coffee saucer, like a side plate,
Right.
with like a $50 thing of chocolate in the middle. Plain as you can get, but it was perfect.
Well, that's like the Stella D'Oro cookies. They have the little Swiss, the little dot, the Swiss fudge cookies.
And I also miss finding good black and white cookies.
Yeah. There's a place in Bay Ridge that makes amazing ones, Lesky's. And it's not like the hard frosting. It's kind of soft, fluffy
understand.
cake frosting. Very good.
Well, it's 9:51. We're coming up on the end, believe it or not. Kathy, tell us what you need to tell us. Tell us how to reach you again, all this stuff. Someone has a story to tell. Tell us.
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find my books mentioned on Facebook. You could go on the Velocil site, velocil.com, and that's my publisher. You could also come visit me on April 28th at the Bookmark Shop in Bay Ridge at 4 o'clock, and you could hear me read more from the book, from Better Than Sisters, and I'm going to do signings. There's going to be cookies, and hopefully some of my friends, a lot of the people I grew up with, I mention in the book. I change names here and there, but they know who they are, and they're really loving reading about
Protecting the guilty?
themselves. No, it's like, well, the publisher's like, you gotta change the name of your high school. You just have to. The nuns, the mean nuns who are dead. You have to. Because, then you'll have people say, oh, the wall wasn't painted this color, it was that color. And, and it's a work of fiction.
that's
So it's
nothing
not, it's
change the
not
name,
meant to be
yeah.
fact. People inspire certain characters, but it's in no way a true representation of anybody.
All right, sounds good. And you have 4 books now. I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations on this release. A month out, you said. Okay. So
Yes, a little less
which
than a
means we
month.
have a couple of years to go before you catch up with the Bells and the L.
I
and
hope
the
so.
Paradiso family.
In a couple of years, hopefully I'll be back and we'll be talking about the sequel and the end of the trilogy, of the L trilogy.
Cool. Jade, anything else you want to say? Any way we can reach you? If somebody wants you to strum along, play a song?
jzabrick.com. That's it. Yeah.
Short and to the point. Okay, Kathy, I thank you very much for being here again.
Thank
Your
you for
fourth visit,
having
we'll
me.
find you on your 5th visit. You'll be
Yes, I
back.
will.
And there'll be many, many readings because I know you and you do make the stream of readings.
Yes,
You
and
do.
come to Ken Siegelman's Brooklyn Poetry Outreach on April 16th at the Park Slope Library at 5:45 and share a poem for Poetry
There
Month.
you go. Everybody on Live Me, thank you for tuning in. I see names I recognize out there. Even from this distance, I could see who that is. Thank you for tuning in. Everyone listening to me, I do this show for one reason. That's because everyone should be heard. Everyone who has a voice, everyone who has a thought, an idea, not every last idea, but an idea. And something to present, something they want to say, something they want to exhibit, something. We want to hear it from you. So write to me at upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Upfrontfrank@gmail.com. I do field all questions. I do answer them on air if they're meant to be answered. And I like all feedback. Tell me you love me. Tell me you hate me. Just tell me anything that's on your mind. With that, I'm going to go. I'm going to see everyone next week and wish everyone a good night.
When it comes to providing guide dogs for people who are blind or visually impaired, one national organization is taking the lead. The Guide Dog Foundation breeds and trains Labradors and Golden Retrievers to help blind and visually impaired people increase their mobility and independence. The foundation provides transportation to its New York campus, the guide dog, a comprehensive training program, and a lifetime of aftercare services, all free of charge. The benefits to training with a guide dog at the Guide Dog Foundation in Smithtown, New York are many. Among them are small class sizes for personalized attention, a long history of excellence in dog breeding, and a highly skilled professional training staff. The foundation offers a comfortable environment and diverse training areas from country walks to city subways. If you or someone you know could benefit from the foundation's free services, call 800-548-4337.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them.